What is up, my AKA patters? Do you like the pink room? Well, here, look, this is my production room, not a strip club. But eventually we know the Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad, the Eclectic One video from a strip club will be coming. But anyway, let's get into it. It was just Frank Miller's birthday. I'm shocked that the entire comic book YouTube community, world, blogsphere, all the other comic book YouTubers, no one said, "Hey guys, it's Frank Miller." Like, I get that he's problematic, but he's not really. But Frank Miller gets brutalized on the internet nowadays. But here on this channel, I don't cowardly run away from the topics like everyone else does. We embrace them, and we're embracing two controversial characters or controversial individuals on the post because the birthday was yesterday of Frank Miller, and that's Frank Miller and our boy Rob Liefeld. Now, we're talking Shadowhawk Zero for two major reasons. The style in this book is highly inspired by Sin City. Now, Rob Liefeld did this, Jim Lee did Deathblow, and this is how shocking, like a lightning bolt, like from the sky into the world of comics. That was the effect of the Sin City style. It literally inspired everyone, even me. When I was a little kid, it was called The Tale. I made my own like Sin City wannabe 5-page story because the style for Sin City, it was mind-blowing, and it was imaginative, and it was unexpected. It was perfect. It was like the perfect style for that type of story, for that type of storytelling. And then we get like the world of heroes. We get the world of Jim Lee, Tom McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, the Image Boys, and they're so deeply inspired by Frank Miller, as may continue to be today. All of his work, all of Frank Miller's work, is so worthy of a retrospective, of a study. Frank Miller is probably the only artist that's worth collecting outside of Alex Ross. The entire run, because he's got so many different phases, so many different facets. So, with that said, we translate everything into here, and Rob Liefeld with the Image X-Over, where all the creators, all the 7 guys from Image swapped titles. I think outside Wells Portacio. So, Rob Liefeld did an issue of Shadowhawk. Jim Valentino did an issue of Young Blood. Then we had McFarlane with Cyber Force and Silvestri on Spawn. You guys get the track. The worst one of all of those, by the way, was the Eric Larson on Wildcats. Oh baby, that didn't quite hit. But anyway, so let's have a look, because through the inspiration of Frank Miller, Rob Liefeld actually creates his best comic. This is the best single effort from Rob Liefeld and Extreme Studios, and the coloring alone. So I just want to go through this. This is a quick story, but the things I want to point out, to me, prove like the power of comics. What exactly is a one-off story? What exactly is a new creator? Like what does it mean when a new creator gets introduced into a title? What should that creator attempt to do? To me, Rob Liefeld is a complete master of that. He did that with Grifter, Deathstroke. He did that with New Mutants. And the list does go on and on. He actually did that to some of his own books. He did that with Supreme. He's tried that a couple times with Young Blood. But even the different iterations of Young Blood are all deeply interesting. The iterations are interesting. But yeah, and this is kind of also, like, the other quick note. This is coming from a generation that had no sequels. Okay, we're spoiled with sequels now. But the Rob Liefeld generation, the Image generation, had Aliens, had Terminator 2, The Godfather. We see a lot of this reference in the movie Scream, if you guys remember that sequence or scene in Scream, the film class scene. Or it might have been Scream 2. I think it was Scream 2. I'm sorry, I take it back. Might have been Scream 2. Yes, it was Scream 2 because they're meta. It was Scream 2. But anyway, it was like this idea that you turn ideas on their heads. You flip things around. You stay true to some of the source material, but to get interest and to get excitement, you be aggressive and you flip it. And hey, people, I even take this with the G.I. Joe Retaliation. I still think that's one of the ballsiest sequels of all time. They literally killed all the G.I. Joes in that movie in the first 10 minutes. Awesome stuff, awesome scene. But anyway, let's hit that drawing table and get to it. AKA Patters, we have a purple pencil. Booyah, there's the cover. Yes, we're doing a purple pencil with the flip through, with the review, with the talk, with the commentary of Shadowhawk 0. Now, why is this 0? We have an explanation to that. Now, let's get into it. We'll get into the explanation real quick, but we have to just admire this freaking cover. Rob Liefeld and Kiko. Kiko actually might be, this time in Extreme Studios, this might be one of the top 5 coloring runs of any individual. If you want to do the caveat of the computer age in there, Kiko and what he was doing with Rob Liefeld and Extreme Studios at this time, it's unparalleled. It's so nuanced, and look, you can see his lassoing here. So just the way, it's not perfect. And later, like Chris Sudemeyer would perfect this with really his work with JR on Amazing Spider-Man. But you really see, it's just so. I don't know, even it just seems random and chaotic. It's the highlights and the shadowing is just awesome. But if we go to the letter section, Jim Valentino kind of, really thanks Rob Liefeld for getting him into Image Comics, for being his friend and confidant for years. He takes credit for teaching Rob Liefeld the way of the comic. But here he breaks down the origin of the 0 issue, and it's actually Zap Comics 0, Robert Crumb. That's the origin of the 0 issue. He gets into an explanation of it. But the 0 issue for this was suggested by Larry Marder, who was the guy running Image Comics. So here we go. People, look at this green glow from Kiki. Now, this is the solutions, the Frank Miller-ness into the Rob, the Frank Miller and Rob Liefeld perfectly merge in this, because look at the shadowing and look at the interior of their craft, where it's almost like there's a series of beveling, and we're getting that Sin City effect where, again, it's just shadows and we're getting impressions of shapes. Look at Bloodstrike's gun right here. It's perfect. Now, Rob Liefeld draws a couple crafts in this, a couple shots. His craft shots are just perfect. They work so well with the way that he's drawing, and we get these image things, we get these Rob Liefeld things, we get the veins around the neck, we get the infinite brow muscles, but we get Rob Liefeld being Rob Liefeld while perfectly imitating Frank Liefeld with Kiko just killing it. Look at this, the randomness with these lassos. It must have been multiple layers, just going into what the production might have been for Kiko for this, but it is immaculate. The way he improvised and found solutions, the shadowing here for Mrs. Face. Now, the bottom shot of the helicopter, again, indicative of Youngblood 0, also a Rob Liefeld trope. Perfect. And then, boom, we're in the flashback. This is, when it comes to storytelling, this is one of my big things. This should have been more clear that this was a flashback only 24 hours ago. That's our hint that it's a flashback. So we're going to catch up to this moment. And then we have our our guys, our CIA dudes, right? We have Gunther, we have Bloodstrike, we have a Rob Liefeld silhouette trope, Rob Liefeld face trope, Rob Liefeld anchor trope right here. But it doesn't matter, because look at Gunther's wrinkles. Again, the wrinkles aren't as perfect. They're not as figured out as Miller does in Sin City. We got the Frank Miller Rob Liefeld pouches here. We actually see that we're potentially working on loose pages here, because we see like a break of the line. So this is where, again, like we're just going with it, and boom. So within like 6 pages, we have one sideways splash page, and we have one regular splash page. But hey, we're going. These guys are blasting off. Shadowhawk just like hammers everyone, because guess what? We're backseat. So this is what happens. They jump, flashback, and then they land. But look at this purple background. Look at Kiko doing the light, the dark, and just these shadows and these highlights. Oh, they're so good. Yeah, and then we get some straight up Rob Liefeld action. Shadowhawk just going right through the room, killing every single soldier. Look at Kiko with the background effects here. The red background, the red characters here. It's so freaking awesome. Great Rob Liefeld pose here. Great Rob Liefeld pose here. This is just awesome. And look, so the point I'm getting at is when you come into a comic and people don't know you, okay, they've never really seen outside of the first appearance, Youngblood #2, or #3. One of them was the first appearance of Shadowhawk. Rob Liefeld drew the character in his style there for that cover. But, you know, Shadowhawk has had a couple years under the belt. 2 years, he's up to issue 15 or 16 right now. But Rob Liefeld comes back to the character, and he's bringing a new style. So you bring in new ideas. You just bring in things that are true to the character, but they're also new and exciting. So we get this giant robot trope, Rob Liefeld, by the way. Now, keep in mind, some of this plot echoes the Bloodstrike Jump Forward issue 25. If you're not familiar, I believe that was drawn by Dane Fraga, laid out by Rob Liefeld. But again, we see the Frank Miller isms here, and we see how Kiko was, I want to say there's like a level of anticipation to what Kiko would do with some of these forms. But we get orange, we get purple, complementary colors, we get the giant robot throwing a punch, we get great pose here. Like, and then like it's just funny because along the way, Shadowhawk just knows like he just has something. He like here, he's got all the right daggers, all the right darts in the right spots, right? He throws them all. He's got this little shockwave device that's going to just blow the robot to smithereens. They blow it up, and here's the thing. So a little bit of the plot here is we have a doctor that has a cure for AIDS. Shadowhawk had a black character reveal, and then he later had a black character with AIDS reveal. So like that's 2 check boxes. But there's a cure for AIDS. Shadowhawk's an HIV operative. He's recruited to kill this virus. I love this long panel here because it's abstract, and it must have never have worked in black and white until Kiko colored it. Because I don't think I would ever draw this and get away with that myself. But boom, perfect shots, kills the soldiers right in the cranium. And then we have our Mission Impossible Chimera moment here. Mission Impossible 2, the John Woo movie, where Shadowhawk, again, great silhouette here. I always liked how Kiko, he like colored and rounded and shaded these silhouettes. He did that for all of Liefeld's books at this time. But he's got the virus, and there's an antibody, and he's got to mix them, just like in Mission Impossible 2. But he gets distracted, doesn't happen, puts them together. And then boom, he basically gets backstabbed along the way. But look, here we go. I'm jumping ahead, but look at this background and Bloodstrike. I mean, it's just, it's so simple. It's so perfect. 2 great shots of the craft. Kiko, look, modeling and shading this, adding the values to really, it's almost just like a cheap silhouette. It works. They're rappelling up. They blow up the base with the doctor inside, and then Shadowhawk gets double crossed by Gunther. He gets stunned in the chest, and he wakes up, and basically he's like, "Hey, I got no time to lose," because we in the hologram, the doctor who has the cure is still out there. He's not killed. And then look what we have. Look at this Frank Miller Sin City here. And look how detailed it looks just from Kiko's values. And then we have this broken 90s moon, and Kiko kind of, I want to say these could be a color hold. I mean, I would love to see some of the originals. This is one of the only books I really would be curious about the originals, but it's not perfect. This is like a poorly drawn moon, poorly drawn craters, but it's not perfect. And there we go, people. We have Shadowhawk 0, inspired by the work of Frank Miller. Happy birthday. Executed by Rob Liefeld and Kiko and Extreme Studios. How do you not love it? Ooh, flipping comics. Okay, so I love you, people. It's Saturday. Game day's tomorrow. Am I going to drop a video on Sunday? I don't know. I have to be up early. We gotta go tailgating, and then we're gonna go out for the Eagles game. Hopefully, we have an Eagles-Bengals Super Bowl, because who's really rooting? Let's be honest. Who's really rooting for the Chiefs? We don't like Patrick Mahomes. Not really. It's like Mahomes and Kelsey. Kelsey is so... But anyway, that's another thing. People, AKAPAD here, signing out. Subscribe, support, leave a comment. And look, guys, I understand. We're not going to agree on everything, but let's be nice, let's be kind, and let's be thoughtful in our comments when we leave them for me, because sometimes if you're reactionary, I get reactionary. And you know what? I'm just trying to be better. Why don't you be better? Rock and roll, AKAPAD here, signing out.